What's up, Worcester? This is Jacqueline from Women Strong Recovery and Wellness Coaching, and this is episode 8 of Crossroad Conversations. And I'll say it again, like I always do. I'm very excited to have this guest on today. I think that she is a power of example. She's a powerhouse. She's making waves. She's making change. And she's creating different pathways for us to really show up and different ways to advocate and to learn about different works that are happening. And I think that she's a real example of how to use your voice for good. So I'm excited to welcome Audra Doody.
Hi.
And thank you for taking the time and coming. Um, we'll just start off with, what do you do? What's your role? And how is that playing
Sure.
a part in the work that you're doing?
Well, thank you, Jackie, for having me. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. Again, my name's Audra Doody. Right now, my role is I am co-CEO of Safe Exit Initiative. We have a couple different programs in the city. We've been around since 2016. We mostly support people that have been impacted by the sex trade, whether they're in it, out of it. We also do a lot of reentry work, policy work, a new research project. So there's a lot going on, and it's all on our website, built out very beautifully. So.
Yeah. Yeah. What has been the most impactful thing about working at a Safe Exit Initiative in your role?
In my role, I would say it's the relationships I've been able to make and mend also, and the policy changes. Even though in Massachusetts our bill still hasn't moved forward, in other states we really had some great wins. Like in New Hampshire, I got a bill passed this summer. Well, I didn't just get a bill passed, but there was a lot of us
Mhm.
that did. But I worked really hard on that. And for me, making those big changes is what trickles down to the programs and the systems. And if we really want to see change, and specifically with the bill in New Hampshire, it was a buyer reduction bill. So it was stronger penalties for sex buyers. They would have to pay a mandatory fee that goes back into victim services. And for me, that's so important, is doing those buyer
Yeah.
reduction classes and teaching about it. Because if there were no more people buying access to vulnerable people, then trafficking would no longer exist, right? And so that's what I'm trying to do, is, help curve or end the sex trade and make people really aware of the harms and realities that is caused. Because especially if you're talking about consenting adults, a lot of people think that it is okay to do that because they're consenting, but like, what choices did they have that led them there? Are they addicted to substances? Are they experiencing homelessness? All these vulnerabilities that they have. So it's like, really, what does consent look like? And breaking that down to the buyers, because I don't think they even understand, well, she chose it. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
There are so many things that led her there. And if they actually wanted to be with you, you would not have to pay them. So, bottom line.
Yeah. And so with policy, I think I was introduced to policy when working with RIA and kind of going through that work. I think, I don't know, for me as someone that hasn't been in the political realm and hasn't looked at, even think that that kind of setting is for me or for the, you know, it's very hard to understand language and to understand, like, what does this even mean and who has access to it. So how have you been able to create those relationships and learn about policy change and make those waves for others?
Sure. Well, there's a couple different organizations I work with. First off, in Massachusetts, there's a coalition. RIA's part of it. It's the Survivors and Allies Coalition for Justice, formerly known as the Equality Model. Or sorry, I'm sorry, Emma Coalition, which stands for Equality Model Massachusetts. We recently did like a little name switch, rebranding, trying to switch our approach, but really learning from, people at My Life, My Choice that have been doing a lot of policy work. This one woman I'm thinking of particular, she did a lot of work with Epica back in the day, and now is with My Life, My Choice, and just learning from them. Also learning from a couple different lawyers that have been part of our coalition. Our managing staff attorney, Sophia at Safe Exit, she's been a part of it. So really, it's helpful to have a lawyer's eyes on some of the bills
Okay.
and language,
Yeah.
because I don't understand it. I'm not
Yeah.
a lawyer. I didn't go to school for
Mhm.
that. And some of the languages used, especially in Massachusetts, it's like very archaic and confusing. So really having like a lawyer to be able to break these down or draft our bill language for us and stuff like that, because I don't know how to do
Yeah.
that, right? And
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with that. But having so many different members part of this coalition. So right now it's My Life, My Choice, RIA, Safe Exit, and then we have Kirkland and Ellis, which is a law firm. Alyssa, she's been part of our coalition for quite some time now, and she's wonderful. And then also working with the national like level. So there's World Without Exploitation, their national policy organization fighting human trafficking. So doing different things with them. That's how I was connected to New Hampshire and Rhode Island and Maine. So usually they have their pulse on what's going on in each state and what bills to look out for, and then they'll blast emails like, "Hey, we got this hearing in Rhode Island. Is anybody from Safe Exit able to go down and testify
Mm.
for it?" And I trust them wholeheartedly. I look at the bill, see what we're saying. Get a group of us together, go down to the state house and go testify. And also there's Rights for Girls and Nicosi. There's plenty of other organizations. And being part of this grant tank I'm part of with one of our funders, the Jensen Project, they also do a lot of policy work. So just learning from all of their staff. And I didn't think I actually liked policy work or I don't really like
Mhm.
politics. I kind of live on the fence with a lot of things
Yeah.
and in that gray area.
Yeah.
But I found that I'm really good at talking to people. People understand the issue when I'm trying to explain it. Um, I seem to build great relationships, so it's been fun for me. And then when you get to watch a bill actually get signed into law and be present and just watch, it's just like that's such a powerful moment. I think I sent out like 188 emails like 2 days before that bill was voted on, and I got some amazing responses too. I was so shocked with like how they responded to those emails. Like my finger was so like numb and like just hurt so bad after doing that. And um, but the responses I got, I
Mm.
was like, this is why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
This is why I do this. They're like, wow, I never thought of it like this. I was actually going to vote against this bill, but since you reached out, now I'm reconsidering it, and I support you. And I've built some really great relationships that way. And then it opens the door to other conversations and like how we can do this. And I've been talking to a lot of people about the illicit massage parlors and what's going on there, and just trying to do stronger regulations for everybody, so everybody's safe.
Yeah. So it sounds like there has been an empowerment to the work that you're doing. But how about personally? Have you been able to, you know, what does that look like as far as your journey and what you've experienced?
Well, for me, I mean, being a survivor of trafficking, prostitution, having substance use disorder, mental health, PTSD, all the fun diagnoses, I just feel as though from a kid that I was always told I was never going to amount to nothing. My
Mhm.
mom told me I need to marry rich because that's the only way I'm going to ever make it. The only thing I have in this world is my body or my face.
Mhm.
It was never about what I had intellectually. So really being able to have people want to hear from me. I don't think I'm the smartest person. I am my worst critic, right? Like I'm like, oh, I stumbled when I said this or whatever, right? Picking myself apart. And it's just for me being invited to sit at some of these certain tables or being able to testify, and they're like really taking in what you're saying and hearing you, and really trying to change so other kids don't have to experience the same things
Mhm.
that we grew up with. So for me, it's a dream, I guess. Yeah, I never knew I could ever do anything. The first time I met another survivor, I was actually at a domestic violence shelter in Boston, and this woman was doing the work. She was the founder of the Eva Center in Boston. And when she shared just a little bit of her story, and she told me she had like a very similar background to me, doing heroin, prostituting, working for a pimp, I was like, no way. Like I thought I
Mhm.
was all alone. Like I knew that there was women working out there with me, but I didn't know that there was like an anti-trafficking whole movement,
Mhm.
like nationwide, globally. Like this has been going on for quite some time. And I was like, I want to do what you're doing. And she's like, Audra, you just got to get sober. And I was like, all right, I might be able to do that,
Yeah.
like maybe.
Yeah.
But she was the first person I ever said actually I could do it. She's like, of course you can.
Yeah.
We need you. There's not enough people with lived experience out there talking about this, fighting for this, doing the policy work, um, and making other women feel comfortable. For me, like even when I went to Beryl's house, I was so afraid. You know how you have to like share your story to get off
I think I
orientation?
blinked it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was super intimidating. I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't know even what to say. Like I went to WotC as well, right? I
Mhm.
went to WotC, then I went to CHL, and then I went to Beryl's house.
Yeah.
And I literally just left my trafficker when I went to WotC. I got picked up in a hotel sting.
Mm.
I was working for this guy. I get I was on probation and stuff, and I have warrants, obviously a little bit of trouble, and so they ended up Section 35ing me. Thank God that one of the probation officers was like, "Hey, you need some help," which got me away from this guy I was working for and started my journey. And I was like, "I'm gonna come to Worcester. My dad's family's from here. I have cousins, uncles. Like I never ran out here. It's gonna be a fresh start. Nobody's gonna be able to find me." So, yeah, it's a crazy process. It's been a long ride, and could never imagine, like, you know, I came here in 2015, so now we're looking at like 11 years of being here and being out of that lifestyle, when I never imagined that I would make it this
Yeah.
far in life. Like, not at all. Like, I was actually praying I would die when I was like 27, 28, and it
Mm.
just wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Every time you're doing heroin or whatever it is, right? Like, I
Mhm.
really wanted to die, but
Yeah.
I'm really grateful I'm here, and that I'm able to use my voice as like it's like my superpower, like my lived experience, everything I've been through. That is my superpower. That is my purpose. That is what makes me want to get up every day and keep doing this. Is just, when other women are going through the similar things that I had to deal with, specifically with like, cases and stuff with traffickers and stuff like that. Just being able to share, like, hey, I've been through this as well. I've done this. We can do this together. Yes, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck a lot. It's gonna be hard, but like there's so many other people that have done this too, and we're gonna be all right.
Mhm. You mentioned being Section 35, and I wonder what that would have looked like had they not. Like, that doesn't always happen, right?
Hmm.
Like, it's not that they always see you as actual someone that needs help, or more or less that you are the perpetrator,
Yes.
right? So, what did that look like when you did, come again? Like, they're like Section 35. Did that feel like relief? Did that feel like, actually maybe someone seeing me?
Yeah, it was a huge relief because I was actually in MCI Framingham for a few days prior to
Okay.
going, because I had a lot of warrants throughout the state. So it was like, you get shipped every day to a
Okay.
different court. And my probation officer in Lowell, or Taunton, I don't remember. They all were named Ed, which was very weird. I had three POs with all named Edwin, Edward, very bizarre.
Hmm.
Anyways, one of the Eds, I remember he came down to the holding cell and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Please don't send me back there." I'm like, "I really want help. I want to get help." And he's like, "All right, we're gonna do this one last time." It was something really simple too that I was in trouble for, like a really stupid charge, but it just like kept dragging out because I wasn't showing up. I wasn't doing the stipulations. So it's like, he's like, "What are you gonna do?" And I actually saw him recently. I went to Taunton. It was Taunton, and
Mhm.
I got my record vacated, and he was in the courtroom, and I got to see him, and he's like, "Holy crap, what are you
Yeah.
doing?" And I'm like, "I'm here to get my record vacated." He's like, "Wow." He's like, and he just like kind of looked at me and he like bobbed his head. He's like, "I'm glad we did that." I'm like, "I'm glad
Wow.
we did that too, because I don't think I'd be alive, number one. I would have just gone to jail, gotten back out, called my pimp, and gone right back to him. But instead, I was like, I can't do this. Like, I really can't. I was so beat down, so tired. I felt so dirty and gross. I was like, I just can't keep doing this. And I was turning 30. I was like 29, 30 at the time. And I was like, oh, I'm getting so old. I can't do that. I can't do this anymore. And, I'm just very grateful that he listened and he gave me the opportunity. He didn't have to, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think he saw the writing on the wall before I even did. My trafficker used to bring me to court and sit in the room with me. So it's like, I'm pretty sure they knew what was going on, right?
Yeah.
Whether or not like I was ever going to say anything because he was so close, or they were going to bring it up, or maybe they were just waiting for the right timing till when I was picked up and arrested and able to make a different move. So, yeah.
Yeah. I got chills all over when you said that. Well, one, our story, like our
My
we're very
timelines.
our
Yeah.
timelines are in from the same place. Like I
Mhm.
was in Taunton, I was in Taunton courthouse. I had the same judge section me twice.
Mhm.
Because my uncle was one of the defense attorneys there. So he helped me with the process. I didn't know what it was gonna look like. Like I
Yeah,
didn't know,
getting taken in
getting
handcuffs. Yeah.
handcuffed and shackled, which is
Oh,
very jarring. And I
yeah.
don't think people understand that process and how traumatizing when you're trying to get help
Yeah.
and they're like, okay, let's
Yeah.
shackle you. Let's, you get the bailiff or whatever, or the security and they bring you back in a cell and you're like, it's so punishing,
Yeah, you thought I
you
was going to
know,
get help, not go to jail,
go to
and they
jail
make it feel like you're going to jail until
until, yeah,
until I got to walk through them. He's
yeah,
like, "This
and
isn't
this is
that."
that bad, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, "This is."
So,
So, but the handcuffs and shackles for me, that's like the worst feeling ever.
yeah,
Hate it.
yeah,
I hate seeing them. I don't know. Being in a police wagon or whatever, in the vans, bouncing all around. People are sick. It's like it's very cruel and unusual how
yeah.
they do it. So.
Yes, I think it's like, you again, you're like, oh, hopeful maybe, we're getting some help, and then this re-victimizing like thing that happens when you're like, I don't think this is what help looks like or
Mhm.
should feel like. This feels very punishing, and
Mhm.
that's, I remember, and like I got to the first time I got to, it was High Point.
Mhm.
And, I remember the only number I could remember. So by the time I got there, I was already fully like
Mhm.
in, DTs, and calling my grandmother is the only number I could remember.
Thank God.
And like, losing my shit. 'Cause I was like I was so angry,
Yeah.
I'm like, I asked for help. What is happening? Um, but so you get through, you mentioned, like that brought me chills, like just going in and being able to advocate for yourself, right?
Mhm.
So now you're looking to have your record clean, and
It is.
it is.
Mhm.
Okay. And how do you go about that? What does that look like?
It was a long
Yeah.
process. It took about like 4 years. And my record was nothing crazy either. It was
Yeah.
I had mostly misdemeanor, stupid offenses,
Mhm.
simple possession charges and whatnot. But I worked with an attorney, pro bono. Thank God.
Yeah.
They helped when we filed our first bill, I believe in like 2019 or 2020. Mintz Levin, Alyssa is the woman I mentioned earlier. So she ended up taking on my case, and yeah, it was long, drawn out, but, we were able to prove that most of my charges were, I think they did, like, under a 30B rule is what it's called, so I was
Okay.
under the coercion of somebody else while these
Okay.
charges were being, while I was doing these charges, right? So it's like it's not like I have a sealed record or anything like that. It's just like it never even happened.
Wow.
Like it's just gone, which is good. Because if like you do a query check and you see
And
sealed, like some
it's
people can
still,
still see that. They're like, oh, what did you do? But now mine is just like I was never even arraigned on those charges. I should have never been arraigned on those charges, and all gone. The judge
yeah.
was super nice. Most lawyers and judges don't know about the vacatur law that we have in Massachusetts. So
Mm,
it started in 2018. Like nobody's really used it. There's only been so many in the state.
okay.
So if you are a survivor of human trafficking, there is vacatur relief for you.
Okay.
Sophia, our attorney, will help
Yeah.
women with that or people with that, which is great. But again, it takes some time, and you got to go through the whole timeline
Yeah.
and be able to prove that, you know, these charges happened while you were being coerced, trafficked,
Okay.
exploited, whatever.
And that process, did it have an effect on you having, like, was it like you had to bring up some things that were uncomfortable? Like, did you have to seek for certain evidence? Like, what did that look like? Because I'm thinking of when we're, because if you're saying sealed, right, that still comes with a stigma.
Mhm.
So having to have a sealed record is still stigmatizing to the person, even though maybe technically people aren't supposed to,
Yeah,
go against that, but it's there.
it's
And
there. Yeah.
it's like the unwritten thing,
Mhm.
um so how did you go about getting the evidence for this information? Because I think this is powerful things, that this is gonna, another thing, right? Like
Yeah.
policy change, etc., is gonna empower that woman to say, okay, you know what, maybe I can start taking my life back. And
Mhm.
that's what that's doing, I would think, in your case.
Yeah. It was a very invasive process. I did have to
Okay.
do the whole timeline, and every time I would meet with the lawyers, it was like a refresh of it as well. Um, but I had some good evidence because there was a federal case being built right around the same time. So, and I was listed as a victim in two of them. So, I mean, I was a pretty unique situation with that particularly. But I mean, you can even like say somebody's working with the Safe Exit Initiative, and I know that they're being exploited or trafficked. I can write like an affidavit saying that this is what's happened, this is what's going on, and being able to submit it to the court that way.
Yeah.
So.
And it seems like you might have to be further along in your journey,
Definitely.
in your process of maybe
I was
being
like
away
4. Yeah.
from the life, being,
Yeah.
doing different things with your life, finding, employment, etc.,
Mhm.
that may be
Yeah.
helpful.
I didn't wanna even get into it until I knew I would never go back to it. I
Mm,
got out of the life in 2015 is when I got away from my trafficker and the sex trade and everything like that. I didn't get sober till 2017. It took me
yeah,
a couple more years to really figure that out, and I kept trying to like numb the pain, forget about everything I had to do to survive, all of it. So yeah, it took a few years. So then
yeah,
after that, I didn't start the Vegature till I think like 2021, 2020, something like that.
yeah,
And it took like 3+ years. So, but I'm glad I did it though. My criminal record wasn't really hindering me from much
yeah,
because I was already advancing in my position
yeah,
in this organization. I was growing. I was getting on more responsibilities and everything else. But I don't know. I wanted to go through the process, so now I can walk alongside the next woman going through the process, and I can explain it. Same as being, listed on as a victim in cases. It's like, I've done that. I can now, it for me when I hear somebody's like been through like the same thing, it's like, all right, like
yeah,
what to expect. You know how not how I'm gonna feel, but you've been here. And when I can say that to somebody, they're like, wow. And they're like, well, how'd you get out? And I'm like, oh, that's a longer story. You want some time, And it didn't happen overnight, I went back to my traffickers after I met that first survivor because I just didn't know what else to do. I got stuck. I ended up
yeah,
relapsing. I went back to him because he kept messaging me, and I'm
yeah,
like, oh, well, I already know what's going to happen here, so I might as well
yeah.
go. Um,
And
well,
I think that's important to understand. And we, now we have more advanced, resources, etc., to understand like the nervous system and the way our brain works. And that is part of it, right? Like, why do we go back, or why does someone go back? And it's because
we're
we're
comfortable.
comfortable, right? Our brain is telling, this is what you know.
Yeah.
This is the comfortable thing, even if it's not
That was my
right.
family. They
E-
were my family.
Even if
Yeah.
it's not right,
Mhm.
even if it's, that there's harm, what you don't know seems more harmful.
Mhm.
So being able to eventually tell yourself, which can be jarring, it can be, it can do a lot to our nervous system when we don't know the other situation we have in front of us.
Mhm.
So how did you start to really, you come here 2015, you say now like it took you a little bit 2017 to really get some sobriety under your belt. What did you start to like say, okay, like maybe I can try the other thing. Maybe I can work towards the other thing. How did you start that process?
I met a lot of great people at meetings when I came to Worcester, and I really wanted what they had. They
Mm,
seemed happy. They were going out to dinner afterwards. I was like, I like this. I could do this. I'm like, this seems better. And again, like I told you, I really wanted to die at the end, like praying to
mm,
die. And I was like, I know, like if I get high, if I know if I do a date, I'm definitely going to get high, right? Like it goes hand in hand for me.
mm,
And I really was not trying to use it that time. The drug supply switched. It was like all straight fentanyl. Everybody was dropping like flies back then, and I was overdosing a lot too. So it was really scary to even think about using after a little bit of sobriety. But again, I just saw what people had at meetings, and I was like, they're happy. Some people brought their kids there, and then they're going out to dinner. Like we used to do Papagenos on Friday
mhm,
nights, and
mhm. That just brought me up.
yeah, like those were really fun.
Yeah,
Bowling nights and
yeah,
random things, like the activities, the dances. Even though I thought they were ridiculous, but it
yeah,
was still fun just to have that community. And it's like people didn't judge me for. We all
yeah,
had a past.
mm,
All of us had a past, and I was like, I just want some sense of community, and I found that, and then I have grown from that community to other
mm,
communities, but I needed that foundation. I needed to see other women picking up women, bringing them to
yeah,
meetings, all of it. And I'm really grateful that Barrel's House did push us to go to all those meetings because some houses aren't like that. And for me, that's where my foundation started was with NA, to be honest. And it grew, and I wanted it. I held on to
mhm,
it. I knew I needed to step away and try to be independent and learn how to control my own finances. Because of course I moved in with a man right away when I moved to Worcester, and we all know how that goes. So I had to step away from that for like a year at a sober house just to really figure out who I am,
Yeah.
what am I doing, and not rely on this guy either. Because I had a really bad problem of using and manipulating men to get my
Mhm.
way. So I was like, I can't do that anymore. I gotta really figure out like how I can take care of me. And once I was like able to like fully be independent, I don't think I've ever looked back. I'm like, I'm not, because again, my mom always told me to find a man that's going to take care of you. And I was like, I don't want a man to take, I want to take care of me. And now I can. And it's like, this is great. I don't, again, I never could imagine life being as good or simple and peaceful, very peaceful as it is today, um, ever. And I think that's because I did find my independence, and I'm able to, fully be independent on my own, and help other people just like myself. So
Yeah.
I got a pretty sweet gig.
Yeah.
So
It's important. I think I just was saying at one of the houses, I was like, I spent 3 years in sober between CHL, halfway house, sober living, um, because I knew how important it was to feel like I was getting stuff back. Because same, like I'm like naturally I'm a taker.
mm-hmm.
Like, what do you have for me?
Yep.
What can I get from you? Like, what does that look like? Um, and so I always, would go back and like, and then I'm trying to scramble and figure it out. And I'm like, no, I need to have like my own shit,
Mm-hmm.
like the power of being able to do that. And I think, especially as women, right, as mothers, once, once you find that again, nobody can take that fucking away from
No,
you, right?
no.
Um, and that is, a continued, I think, thing that you have to, you own
Mm-hmm.
internally and like find that internally. So how do you break away from the narrative your mother gives you versus the one you've been building for yourself? How do you start to create that in that journey for yourself?
It's believing in yourself, knowing that you can do it, and having other people show me the way too, right? Like I learned from
Yeah.
some really amazing, strong women, and I was like, listen, they can do it, I can do it. And I wanted to prove people wrong also,
Mhm.
because my stepfather, my ex stepfather, he'd always say the meanest things to me. You're nothing. You're
Mhm.
worthless. You're just gonna be back. You're gonna be a prostitute. This and that. And it's like, well, you know what? I'm a motherfucker. I'm gonna prove you wrong,
Yeah.
right? And I'm gonna do it. And that actually was a big driver for me, because he would call me a deadbeat mom and this and that. Like you're nothing but like. And I apologize for language, but he would call
Yeah.
me like a junkie whore, this and that. So it was like, you know what? I'm gonna show you like what I can do. And yeah, for me, I guess that worked pretty well. But then I also had to do some healing from that years later. And,
Mhm.
I don't have as much anger towards to him. I don't actually even talk to him, which is great because I'm able to, have my own support system, my own family. And luckily, my mom finally decided to leave him at a very old age. But I also saw the way she was living with him when I first started in my recovery journey. And I
Mhm.
was like, I don't ever want to be like that. That seems awful. You seem miserable. Like, I don't want to have, like, I didn't get sober to be miserable. Like, I want to find like true happiness and peace. Because you know me, I like to laugh. I like to smile. I like to have fun. And when I was in the life and using, there's none of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just want to figure out who I am. What do I like? Like, I don't know. What are my hobbies?
Yeah. So what are your hobbies? What have you been figuring out?
I
Like,
love to hike. I love hanging out with my dog. I like playing sports with my son. He got really into basketball this year, which is great, and he's like really working out. But I love spending time with him. I didn't ever think I'd be able to have a relationship with him
mhm.
ever again. I was gone for a lot of years of his early life, and I was fortunate enough to, when I did get sober and everything, I think it was like 2018, 19, we started slowly seeing each other again. So having a relationship with him. I love to paddleboard. With my dog on the paddleboard with her little life jacket. It's very adorable. And I pretend I'm like an avid boogie boarder. So I
Okay.
watch like, yeah, I'm a nerd. I watch the surf report for Narragansett in the summer. So if there's like high waves, I'm like, oh, we're going to the beach today. We're gonna go get messed up by some waves. But Yeah, that's my like, I love
Yeah.
going to concerts, I love hanging out with my friends,
Yeah.
I love going to work events and traveling for work, going to different conferences, seeing different parts of the United States, and, you know, I recently just applied to get my passport, so I'm looking forward to getting out of the country and experiencing more things. I was always so afraid to leave, I don't know why,
Yeah.
but
I think
now I'm like,
yeah.
I wanna just go and experience everywhere
Yeah.
and just, I don't know, see what the world has to offer. Like, I've been so sheltered, not like sheltered, but like just kind of
In a
sheltered.
box, in a box,
Yeah,
yeah.
like away from so much,
Yeah.
and you only know that part of your life, like, the using, being exploited, traffic, whatever you want to call it, right? All of that stuff just consumes you for so long. And that was such a long period of my time from 18 to 29, that's 11 years of your life. That's all you know. So it's like, but there's so much more. And then I think these last 10 years have really just been about, taking my power back, owning my identity, growing, healing, and helping. Like, and so I'm just really excited for what the next 10 years are going to bring,
Yeah.
because they just seem to be getting better. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I when I got my passport, I clearly remember like in my young, in my even in high school or 20, I was like, why would I even go for a passport? Like who
the,
even wants to go see, who wants to go across the pond?
yeah,
Like it just seems so foreign, but I think it goes back to like the limited belief system,
mhm,
right? What you see, what you've been exposed to, and we're not being exposed to airplanes and travel and
no,
sunny weather, right? Like I'm a kid that, I was in shelters. We were like, my father is addicted to crack, like living in projects. So like we're not thinking about
no, it's
passports.
surviving. I just
You're
think about
thinking
just,
about,
yeah,
like, okay, what is this night gonna look like? Are the
yeah.
cops gonna be called? Or, like,
Am I going to be able to eat tonight?
right? Yeah, like there's so many
Hmm.
variables that a passport is very far
Yeah,
from
it's a
your
privilege.
peripheral,
Yeah,
right? And so getting my passport and my two youngest kids,
it's pretty
like
cool.
seeing that and like, that just it gives you a sense of more freedom, like,
Mhm.
oh, and I'm living like other people that
I'm like
like
a
are
full
a
adult.
full adult.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm responsible, like, I'm functioning. I'm like, never, again, never could have ever imagined that ever.
Yeah,
And it's been every year, every day. Like, obviously, there's hard days. There's been losses
yeah,
along the way too, like, family member over the years and stuff. And I thought I was gonna throw it all away over that.
yeah,
And I was like, no, I can't do that. Like, I can't
yeah,
do that. And it's like you just get through it too. It's like
yeah.
you reach out, you talk about it, you go scream in the woods, whatever you gotta do, go cry in your car. I don't know, sometimes that helps for me with a
Mm,
nice sad song, and I just kept going. But yeah, there's been really tough days in my recovery.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but
And I go back to thinking about the power that holds, right? But also the power of example that you're setting, right? For now you run an organization that has several different locations. So it's not just about the people you're serving, but it's about your employees,
mhm,
right? So
taking
how
care
are
of the
you
staff. Yeah.
about the staff and like a lot of them have the same experience. So being able, what does that look like to be able to show them and kind of be that example for them and what they can get from their own lives?
Yeah, I think they see it. And when I go over and talk to, I work out of our harbor location, which is our
Hmm.
drop-in center. So the staff over there see me quite frequently. But when I go over to Donna's place and just checking in with them, letting them know what's going on, like with different things and what I've been up to, because they don't see me a lot. So I'm like, oh, I've been doing
Hmm.
this, that. And people are like, wow, like, and a lot of these women I know from being in programs with like
Mm.
10 plus years
Yeah.
ago, being in detoxes with them over the years. It's like it is a small little group of us. So it's
Yeah.
like you get to know people, especially when you're in the program and meeting scenes and stuff like that. So just sharing with what we're doing, what's going on, where we're headed. Everybody's really excited about the growth of the organization right now, the movement we're taking. And then just offering different trainings, like bringing you in for Donna's place, right? That was I loved that.
Yeah.
I got a lot out of that, so I was very grateful, and I couldn't even attend every session, but I was, like, bummed when I couldn't, but
Yeah.
doing that, bringing the Hartwell Institute in with
Love
Lynn,
that.
you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that, and I know that's more for the participants, but the staff are
Yeah.
there too,
Yeah.
right? And it's just about uplifting all the staff, making sure that they feel seen and heard and are able to take the time they need, like, sometimes our mental health or whatever, we're burnt out.
Yeah.
It can be a very demanding job. So making sure you're able to take that time away and really do self-care. And self-care is not just like getting your nails done or this and that, like
Yeah.
really just like taking care of your business. And the days go by so fast and it's like, crap, I haven't even cleaned my house in like a month. I gotta, you
Mm.
know what I mean? Like I gotta take some time just to organize and this and that. And I don't know. For me, I'm very routine based. I like my schedule. It works well, right? Like it's like, I like that. And mm, I feel like it keeps me on track. It, you know, holds me accountable too.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, showing up every day too and trying to be positive. Even some days I don't want to be positive, but just
Mhm.
trying to be positive and checking in with them. As we're growing as an organization, I think it's important to get FaceTime with a lot of
Mhm.
the employees and just know, especially because I've supported a lot of them. A lot of them have come through the program, so making sure that the leadership is still checking in and being part of. So we recently did like a little ice skating trip for the harbor staff. They were super excited about that. They wanted to do a team building activity. They chose ice skating. I don't know why. Good for them, but they loved it. I was like, yeah, let's do it. But just doing different things
Yeah.
and hopefully doing the wellness coaching with the harbor staff as well and different workshops and that. Like I'm always looking at different
Yeah.
opportunities for trainings. Like both of the programs are funded through BSAS and
Yeah.
DPH, so they do offer a lot of really good trainings as well. And we get blasted with emails from them about new
Yeah.
training opportunities. So just making sure that the managers have it, and then also being able to build the employees up. Like, what do they want? Like,
Yeah.
what do you want to do? Like, do you want to do this forever? Do you want to go to school? Do you want to do this? Because there's different resources. Like, especially if you are a survivor, there's a lot of different resources that can help pay for school or pay for a certificate or whatever you want to do. So just making sure that they know, like, even though
Yeah.
you are staff here, there still are resources out there. Like, I'm not going to do the
Yeah.
application for you, but
Yeah.
here's the email. Like,
Yeah.
here you go.
Yeah.
Here's the application. But just letting them know that there's still support, so
Yeah, I think that that's important. I think I know for me, I took advantage of, like I said, staying in a sober house for 2 years.
yeah.
Like, I was like, I want to get things planted. Like, I need to get my car, get a
Mhm,
license, pay off this. I went back to school. I utilized pretty much all the things. And I've continued to do that.
mhm,
I think I got my C car paid for, like I got, like
yeah,
so many things that there's opportunity, and it's
there's
so
so much.
important that we are the example, we are the faces that, but it's not like this gatekeeping. There's none of
Mm-mm, no,
that.
you
Like
gotta
it's
share the
just like you got
resources.
to share the
Yeah,
thing because we want, you know, as you've seen, this can have such a trickling effect on how, the empowerment is built.
mhm,
And so I think that being able to see you continue and to see you in your place, and they know they have that to look up to, is amazing.
mhm,
And then I think the participants get to look up to them,
yeah,
so it's just,
it
it's
all
this,
trickles down, yeah.
it trickles down. It's such a beautiful thing to see.
And even trying to help like other small organizations that are just starting out, just like having little brainstorming sessions with them. Like they're like, oh, where did you apply? What did you do? It's like, I'm not going to hoard that information. I'm going to share it with you.
Yeah.
And some people aren't like that. Some people, it's a competition. I'm not going to tell you where we
Yeah.
get our funding, this and that. And it's like,
It's
no, you know what? Here, this is what we've done. Like, I want to see you
yeah.
build and do things because guess what? I'm going to need your resource. So
Yes.
please grow,
Yes.
please.
That
If you wanna pick my brain, I don't know
yeah.
I don't know what you're gonna get out of it, but let's go,
Yeah.
Let's
I
have
think
that
that's it.
conversation.
There's
'Cause so many people wanna
enough.
gatekeep though.
There's enough for everyone. And I
Mhm,
think that if we look at it as there is enough for everyone,
mhm.
we
Work
can
together.
collaborate, we
Mhm,
can be in community. We essentially have the same goal. Like there's the same essence of one human helping another and wanting to just give back in a way that feels, you know, right. That it's like there's enough.
Yeah.
There's enough. And so I think, and I know that from my collaboration with you guys, and
Mhm.
you guys have been, I love being able to highlight and support, and how can we get
Yeah,
more
you're great.
people in, and
Yeah.
sending like, oh,
The staff love you.
here's
Everybody loves you. The Jackie's
a
coming. I'm like,
I just feel like this is what we're supposed to be
mhm.
doing. Like, we didn't crawl out of the depths of hell
Yeah.
to just be sitting in some isolated
Mm-mm.
space,
Mhm.
um, not sharing,
Yeah.
the good news.
Yeah.
This is the good news
Mhm.
that we get to, essentially,
And we're changing how the
yeah,
systems are operating too. Like,
yeah,
even Beryl's house, like we've gone in and done the alumni groups or whatever. It's
yeah,
like those women hearing from you, from
yeah,
me, from
yeah,
everything, they're like, "Oh wow, you guys were here like only that
yeah,
long ago?" Like 10 years may seem like a long time, but it's really not. And like
yeah,
look at what you can accomplish in that
yeah,
as well. It's like, wow, wow, like you could do it. I think it just shows that. It's like whatever you put your mind to, yeah, again, there's tough days, but you can
yeah,
do it. You got to lean on your support system and it's out there. I found such a great, like, I don't know, like second family out here.
mhm,
Like some people I
yeah.
could really count on no matter what. Like I would trust them with my life, my son's life. And I don't know if you find that everywhere else. I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I don't,
I've been around a little bit, and I'm like,
I think
I
something
gravitate to
special.
it.
Yeah.
Something special here. I think that, there's really, yeah, does there need to be more system change?
Of course.
Of course, it's
Nothing's
everywhere.
perfect.
Yeah,
There's a lot
is
of work
there
to be done
there's
still.
so much
Yeah.
work to be done, but I think that that is even the more important thing, that we keep showing up,
But we have the
using our voice.
community to do it.
Yeah,
So,
and having these conversations, because there's a lot of things I use my voice because I didn't know.
mhm,
I didn't know there was treatment.
mm,
I didn't know there was sober houses. I didn't know there was halfway houses.
mm,
We have pretty much the same timeline. I went to, my first detox, or like that I was 27, 28 years old. And that idea of like, I'm going to die.
mhm. Yep.
If something doesn't change,
I
I'm dying.
Yeah.
Like, and I felt that like
Oh, yeah,
wholeheartedly,
I knew.
that I was not making it to 30.
Yeah.
So the idea of making it to 30
Yeah.
and then 40, and now, like,
Yeah.
when people are like, "Oh, you're like," I had a coworker, and she's like, "I'm turning 42," but like she was like, "Oh, I'm turning 40," and I was
No,
like,
I was so
"I'm
excited.
turning 40." Like, do you know what this means? Like, I was supposed to be dead by 30.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think you can't
No, I
grasp
can't.
that if you
No.
haven't gone through that.
It was a little shocking. I was like, "Ooh, 40." But
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even care.
Yeah.
Like I said, every year of life just keeps getting better and,
Yeah.
you know, more opportunities,
Yeah.
different things I never thought I'd ever experience. I am, and it's like,
Mhm.
let's go, let's embrace it.
Yeah.
So I stopped caring so much what other people think too. I think as you get older and more confident, especially as a woman,
Yeah.
like it's like you care so much about your appearance or how you say what you say or how you say it, and it's like this is just who I am. Like I have my flaws, and if I
Mhm.
mess up, please tell me, and I'll
Yeah.
try to correct it. But I'm just very confident in the person I am. So,
Yeah.
which was never the case. So
Yeah.
that in itself is a miracle.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Hmm.
I think that I just can't wait to see what the next decade
I
brings
know.
for us, because I think,
We're game changers.
yeah, we'll be able to have more of these conversations,
A lot more.
and I look forward to all the work, um, that you'll continue to do.
Hmm.
You'll show the other women it's possible, and that will be the new thing to do,
Hmm.
right? The new, like, we're making waves where it's like, no, this is how we show up,
Hmm.
and this is gonna be just that standard. And so yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I
So
appreciate you.
I appreciate you helping us out all the
Yeah,
time. So
yeah,
yeah, whenever we need anything, you're there.
anytime.
You're there. So
I'm telling you, because, as a community, I'm
yeah.
telling you guys, like, the only thing we should be focusing on is how we can collaborate, how we can help each other,
Hmm.
how we can build up each other. That's where the change is gonna come.
Hmm.
Um,
100%.
and having these conversations, saying, where can we get the resource? Where can we do policy change? How can we access that?
Hmm.
And there's so many different ways to utilize our voice and our experience. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
All right. So tell us and let us know where we can find you,
Sure.
any way we can support. I think that that's really important, how we can give back to the particular programs you serve, um, and anything else you like.
Definitely. So you can find us on all the social medias. We're on every platform, Safe Exit Initiative. Also, you can go to our website, safeexitinitiative.org. On there, we have you're able to donate on our website. You're able to see what programs we have, the leadership, everything that's going on, little calendar events. But we also have our annual fundraiser
Okay.
coming up April 30th, I believe, in the White Room in Worcester. It is called After the Exit. It's an art show. You came last year to
I did.
ours. Yeah, so it was amazing last year. So this year we're doing a little spin-off. So we're really talking about how difficult it is to exit the life. Like a lot of people are like, oh, why don't they just leave? Right. And it's like, well, they need XYZ. They need, you know what I mean? There's so much just more than that. So it's like,
Yeah.
so we're really breaking it down and it's like an immersive art show. So you'll be walking through different stations and how like in overcoming different barriers that people come across when they are exiting the life. So really looking forward to that. April
Awesome.
30th. If you go on any of our social medias, we've been blasting it all
Okay.
over there. It's going to be a great event. Um, and then, yeah, just go to our website. That's what I would say. If you ever
Okay.
have any clothes or food donations you want to drop off, you can drop them off at Harbor, which is at 534 Cambridge Street in Worcester. Big old brick firehouse. Can't
Yeah.
miss it.
Can't miss it.
Nope, huge sign on there. It says Harbor, safe exit. Beautiful building. But we're there all the
Okay.
time, every day, 365.
365,
8
8 to
a.m.
8.
Yep, 8 to 8.
8 to 8.
Holidays included, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
anytime if you,
Okay.
yeah, if people want to volunteer, if they have any donations, if anything, we always take all the support we can get. Especially if people enjoy making meals for large groups of people, we'll take them and we
Okay.
will feed a lot of people. So,
All right, perfect. And we'll link everything to those resources. And I think it's important that we know where to go and how to access and support our community. So this is Crossroad Conversations, episode 8, and I'm so excited for you guys to see this conversation and really take in all the changes that are happening. You can support us by commenting, sharing, liking. We do accept donations. This is a nonprofit. And so this is a way that we can give back to our community by raising up and elevating the voices. So, bye.